in gray, basically all of Northeast Illinois, Northwest Indiana. Expecting to see poor air quality today, unhealthy ozone levels into the afternoon. So keep that in mind for your Tuesday. We do have moderate air quality right now, but later this afternoon we will jump up to that orange unhealthy category for the day ahead. Also, temperatures in the 70s, 69 right now in Aurora, 73 in Gary. We're at 75 in Waukegan and 70 degrees in Kankakee. Heading into the afternoon, temperatures back in the mid to upper 90s, may feel more like 100 degrees. Kye?
Ailcia, thanks. A couple of incidents to let you know about. We've got lights flashing here, Rand at Plum Grove Road out in the northwest suburbs. And then in Humboldt Park, division is blocked for an injury crash investigation. This involved a CPD squad vehicle. You want to avoid division and use Thomas or Augusta. Let's take a glance outside and check in with the northern suburbs. Lake County, the tri-state moving well here near Gurnee. And that's a quick look at your commute. Back to you.
Thank you, Kye. Following a desperate search for a teen missing in the water, a body has been found in a north suburban lake.
Yeah, it all started when a group of friends were out on a boat on Piki Lake, which is located in Piki Lakes. They jumped in the water, and sadly, one person did not resurface. Police say the friends looked for him and then called 911. Fox Lake first responders were joined by multiple agencies for a 2-hour search. Eventually, though, the body of that 15-year-old boy was found. He has not been identified. And a West Suburban Forest Preserve and campground is expected to reopen this morning after police searched for the area for this missing man. This is 59-year-old Adam Curts of Gilbert's. Investigators say that he was last seen Sunday afternoon riding a black mountain bike. This is video from Sky 5 over Burnage Forest Preserve in Elgin yesterday as police and K9 teams look for any signs of him.
For the second time in less than a week, federal agents shoot and kill a man during an immigration enforcement operation. This time it happened in Maine. An ICE spokesperson says an ICE officer fired his gun because he feared for public safety when the person was trying to drive off. NBC's Alice Barr has reaction from the community and from lawmakers.
A community vigil in Maine overnight, where there's a growing outcry over an ICE officer fatally shooting a man. This video shows a white car driving in a circle with an ICE officer trying to grab the door handle. It's not clear if this was before or after the shots were fired. Another video shows what appears to be federal agents pulling a limp body from a car and putting the man's hands behind his back. In a statement, an ICE spokesperson said the vehicle attempted to flee and that fearing for public safety, an officer fired his weapon, saying ICE was there conducting targeted surveillance on the last known address of someone with a final order of removal when a person who was not in the country legally left the house in the car. But Maine Independent Senator Angus King says the Homeland Security Secretary told him the intended target is not who was killed.
The person they were after was not the guy they ended up shooting. And then, as you say, the statement does not allege that the officer felt that he was endangered.
Two immigrant rights organizations tell NBC News the man killed was a 26-year-old from Colombia who was authorized to work in the U.S. and had been issued a Social Security number. Authorities have not publicly identified him. The ICE officer was not wearing a body camera, also the case in another recent fatal ICE shooting in Houston, where Homeland Security says the man weaponized a vehicle against officers, though some Texas officials question that, adding that man had lived in the U.S. for 35 years and was also not ICE's target. The DHS Inspector General's office is now investigating the Maine shooting, according to a person familiar with the investigation. It comes as ICE is ramping up its arrests nationwide. A source familiar told NBC News the agency arrested more than 1,300 people this past Saturday and 1,100 on Sunday, up from 600 per weekend day on average last month. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
President Trump is reinstating a naval blockade of Iranian ports. He announced the U.S. will impose a 20% fee on cargo shipped through the Strait of Hormuz as a reimbursement for securing the waterway, something international law prohibits. This morning, oil prices are spiking once again. It comes after the U.S. military attacked Iran for a third night in a row. Trump says he will address the nation Thursday night, although it's unclear if the speech will be about Iran.
In just a few hours on Capitol Hill, the sister of Lindsey Graham will be sworn in to serve out the remainder of his Senate term. Darlene Graham-Nordone was appointed by South Carolina's governor. President Trump also pushed for her appointment. Graham died suddenly over the weekend at age 71. Nordone is going to serve until Graham's term expires in early January. She says it's what her brother would have wanted. And it comes as we are learning more from doctors about the rare heart issue linked to Senator Graham's sudden death. A preliminary medical report says it was caused by an aortic dissection, which is a tear in the body's largest artery. Dr. Quentin Ewan, cardiologist at Northwestern Medicine, tells us that the condition can resemble a heart attack, but is less common and oftentimes underdiagnosed, and it can also happen without warning.
The thing is that a lot of times patients might have chest pain, but there are many different things that can cause chest pain. So things like pulmonary embolism or blood clots in the lungs. And so we really do have to have a higher index of suspicion if we're worried about something like aortic dissection, because it's one of those things that can be sort of like a ticking time bomb that every minute that passes can really be an increased risk for patients.
And doctors say men are 3 times more likely to develop the condition than women. Well, this morning, we are learning the potential source for a parasitic infection, which is getting people across the state and country pretty sick.
Officials in Michigan believe they are just getting an idea as to what could be a potential source. NBC5's Lisa Chavarria has more.
Hey there, this is likely something you're going to be thinking about if you're going out to lunch or even as you're packing your lunch. It is something that you need to consider. Michigan health officials are saying that, at least preliminarily, they believe that the outbreak could potentially be tied to lettuce or salad greens. So let's get into it. We are talking about cyclosporiasis. That is that parasitic infection known for causing stomach issues, which are pretty significant and can lead to multiple trips to the bathroom. Michigan's health department says their investigation so far is pointing to lettuce or salad greens as a potential source. They do, however, say food items that are not being ruled out at this point, other food items, I should say. And at this point, there's no specific type of produce, grower, or supplier identified as the source of this outbreak. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reported Friday that 31 states now have reported cases and 86 people have been hospitalized. Health officials here in Illinois say that's at least 150 people who have it. So how can you try and prevent this? When dealing with lettuce, wash, peel, and cook it. Remove any damaged portions, avoid mixed salads, cook to at least 158 degrees Fahrenheit, and make sure you wash cutting boards and countertops. So remember, if you have that head of lettuce, just rinse it a little extra. And one of the other things is make sure to wash your hands in between touching different types of food. If you suspect that you may have this infection, your doctor can test for it. And in the event that you do have it, guys, one of the things that they will do is they will give you antibiotics, but they're also going to tell you need to rest and drink plenty of fluids. Back to you.
A 4-day school week could be in the future for some schools in Indiana. Under a new state law, districts can apply for the shorter schedule if they meet academic and staffing requirements. One Lafayette Elementary School is already using this schedule. School leaders tell us students are thriving with better attendance, reading scores, and fewer disciplinary problems. One family talking about how it's affected their family time.
I've been worried that somehow they're missing out on some sort of education that they would get with 5 days. For us, having Fridays where just as a family, we can be together, we can have intentional time with our kids.
Any Indiana school wanting to go to a 4-day school week must earn an A letter grade under the state's new accountability model. It measures school performance. Part of that includes student scores on iLearn and iRead tests.
So, a so-called corpse flower is blooming here in the Chicago Lake area. After the break, we'll tell you where you can see this rare plant and how it got its original name.
Plus, 2 prominent politicians are reportedly considering a run for Chicago mayor. What happens to their positions if they win? Our team breaks down what could play out over the next few months if elected Julius and Congressman Mike Quigley into the race. Up and at least least two likely candidates could soon be asking voters for one job in November, then campaigning for mayor in February. So what happens if they win both of those elections? Well, let's start with Secretary of State Ailcia Roman.
Look, government can't solve all our problems, but it should make life just a little easier. As Secretary of State,
Roman started running those TV ads touting his accomplishments as Secretary of State. The ads also raise his name recognition as he considers simultaneously running for mayor. What if he wins both of those offices? Well, Governor Pritzker will play a big role as he would get to appoint a temporary replacement. Election law says since there would be more than 28 months remaining in the term, there would be a special election. Also, what would happen if Congressman Mike Quigley wins both of his campaigns? In Quigley's case, the governor does not appoint a replacement, but he does set the dates for a special election. Illinois election law states if there are more than 240 days before the next general election, the governor shall issue a right of election within 5 days. That election to take place within 6 months.
Chicago's City Council is delaying a vote which would decide who runs Chicago's parking meter system. The council was expected to approve the sale of the city's on-street parking rights to a New York-based company called Stone Peak yesterday. But some aldermen have concerns because Stone Peak's parent company has contracts with ICE. Stone Peak has threatened to sue if the deal isn't passed.
Oak Park is considering plans for a new pedestrian bridge over the Eisenhower Expressway, and they want to hear from you. Village leaders say the aging Home Avenue Bridge needs to be replaced to accommodate future 290 expansions and to better connect neighborhoods. The bridge crosses the CTA Blue Line and CSX Railroad Corridor. You can give your feedback on the project now through July 22nd. Go to engageoakpark.com.
All right, later today, Cicero is going to be officially opening a new real-time crime center. The ribbon-cutting ceremony is set for 11 this morning at the town's police department, and we're already getting a preview of what's inside. Cicero leaders say the center's new technology will help support local crime-fighting efforts. The system gives operators access to street cameras, body cameras, and department drones. Officials say new technology is already in use, and it helps monitor festivals and parades. So this is a crime-fighting technology. Again, that's going to be opening in Cicero a little bit later today, 11 o'clock this morning at the town's police department.
We're 17 minutes after the hour, and Ailcia, you talked about kids are in summer camp, there's sports activities today. Some kids are just going to be outside trying to play and hang out and have fun. We need to prepare for this heat.
Prepare for the heat, dress the kids, light clothes, loose fitted clothing, pack a lot of water, and also if your child has asthma, you want to be mindful of that too. Maybe tell a camp counselor if they're outdoors to bring them inside for a couple hours, because we do have that air quality alert. So looking right now at the air quality alert map, you can see the areas in Northeast Illinois, Northwest Indiana under that alert. Heat advisories all around us, but no heat advisories for us at least at this time. But today you can expect poor air quality, unhealthy ozone levels. Right now at this hour, it's not bad out there. We're moderate in that yellow shade, so you can see the legend. We're in that moderate. But later today, we should jump up to that unhealthy for some category. So yes, again, if you do suffer from upper respiratory issues, you do want to limit your time outdoors into the afternoon and evening hours for your Tuesday. You can kind of see hazy conditions out there right now. 98 degrees is my forecast high this afternoon. Heat index levels will be anywhere from about 100 to 105. So very hot and humid conditions will continue yet again for today. 2 degrees shy of the record. You can see that record high 100. 98 is my forecast. So all areas will see those temperatures in the 90s later today, even along the lakefront. And yes, again, near 100 degrees with our heat index. Tonight we'll drop back into the 70s. Tomorrow we'll do it again. 97 degrees is expected for your Wednesday. 101 is what it could feel like. So again, for tomorrow, a high temperature of 97. Feel like temperatures, heat index levels in the low 100s. That continues Thursday. Friday, we drop down to 92, but still seeing very hot conditions, humid conditions as well into your day on Friday. Dry conditions, though, will continue for the next couple days. We'll keep that going today, most of the day on Thursday, but by Thursday, we should start to see this weather pattern breaking a bit and introduce a chance for showers, maybe an isolated shower or storm into the afternoon hours for Thursday, perhaps a slightly better chance of rain to move in for Friday. 92 Friday, Friday, 90 on Saturday. So definitely adding more 90-degree days to our 90-degree day scorecard, Kye, for our seasonal temperatures. We typically average about 18. So far, we've only had about 5.
All right. Thanks, Ailcia. Well, today is your last full day to use Balboa Drive right here for this stretch from Columbus to DuSable Lakeshore Drive through August 9th. And that's because tonight after the evening commute, Balboa is going to close for the Lollapalooza setup. Lolla is at the end of this month. This just reopened yesterday, by the way, all of these streets after the Taste takedown. So again, setting up for the next big event. Let's check in with DuSable Lakeshore Drive. It's moving very well right now with no major problems. As far as other incidents for this late morning commute, an earlier crash has cleared. The investigation is gone off Division near Hamlin and Humboldt Park. So that's some good news. There were injuries here. Rand at Plum Grove Road up in Deer Park. Signals were malfunctioning. We understand Deer Park is working on it, and they should get that back up and running soon. Metro Heritage Corridor inbound. One of these trains is on a 20-minute delay to Union Station. Freight train interference. Let's take a glance outside and check now with your suburban commute. No problems here as we look at I-90 at Toohey, heading out from O'Hare. Back to you, Michelle.
Hi, thank you. A rare sight and smell awaits visitors at the Chicago Botanic Garden. The infamous corpse flower is starting to bloom. This blooming period only lasts from 24 to 36 hours, I should say, and while it does, the plant emits a noxious odor. The foul scent is used to attract its primary pollinators, which include beetles and flesh flies. Standing 6 to 8 feet, it's one of the largest and rarest flowering plants on Earth and blooms very infrequently. Well, doctors at Northwestern pull off a historic quadruple organ transplant. That's the procedure giving a woman a second chance at life. And no need to wax on, wax off. We've got a local karate kid already top of his game. Soon will be representing the U.S. in an international competition. But there's one thing standing in his way. We'll explain up next. You're streaming NBC 5. The American Red Cross is declaring an emergency blood shortage. The national blood supply fell about 25% in June. Hospitals see a higher demand for blood during the summer months because statistically, there's a higher risk of traumatic injuries. A spokesperson tells us O positive and B negative blood are needed the most.
In trauma incidents, also, doctors have to make a decision about how much blood a patient gets, and which then ultimately impacts recovery. So we want to make sure that we maintain a stable blood supply.
You can sign up to give blood at redcrossblood.org. Anyone who donates through the end of the month will receive a free movie ticket. Well, new this morning, a groundbreaking medical procedure. Northwestern Medicine performing the first known quadruple organ transplant involving retransplanted lungs in the U.S. This is video from Northwestern. Elizabeth Worley from Iowa received 2 donor lungs for a second time along with a liver and kidney. This after complications from cystic fibrosis and chronic rejection of her first lung transplant left her critically ill. For Worley, the historic surgery represented an opportunity to return to the life she built with her family after her first transplant in 2017.
It's just getting my life back. Like right now, I'm kind of still rehabbing, getting my son back, continuing building the life that I had before and making it better and just going forward.
Elizabeth is set to return home and reunite with her son later this week. She says she's looking forward to going to the swimming pool this summer and showing off her battle scars. A 12-year-old boy from Aurora is getting ready to represent Team USA at the World Karate Championships this October in Spain. Pablo Linares earned his spot after qualifying in 3 divisions at the National Championships, where he competed against some of the country's top young athletes.
Well, it's a very nervous experience. I'm obviously really happy and really excited. Now I'm going to represent the whole country instead of just myself. So it's a really big experience for me.
Pablo's family says the only thing standing between him and the World Championships is the cost of the trip. They're organizing fundraisers and launching an online funding campaign to help get him to Spain. Well, our own Matt in the Morning is on a quest of his own in New York City this week. That's where he's getting a behind-the-scenes look at how NBC's nightly news is produced. He's bringing us along for the ride on social media. It's part of NBC's Immerse program. It takes employees into different parts of the organization. And you can see here, he caught the familiar face of NBC5's Stephen Holt while he was there. Chicago Public School cuts dozens of jobs across the district. New details on their effort to fill a multi-million-dollar budget gap. Our Ailcia Roman also this morning has more on the parasite infection making people sick across the